Hi, third graders. This is Mrs. Peters, and I would like to work with you again this week on solving problems. You might remember that last week we asked ourselves, what is problem solving? And some thoughts were, it's figuring out a problem. It's like a story problem. It can make you confused for a while. Sometimes it's like a puzzle, and I don't always know if I'm right. And yes, solving math problems, they do take time to figure out, and they can be challenging. But they can also be fun and satisfying too. So we also talked about equations and what does the word equation even mean? Our definition says that an equation is a mathematical statement asserting that two quantities have the same value. For example, in the highlighted equation, it states that 3 plus 1 has the same value as 2 plus 2. We also talked about using equations with a variable as a problem-solving strategy. So this equation says 4 times 6 equals t. So t is the variable, and the variable stands for what we don't know. In second grade, we used boxes to stand for what we didn't know, and we could put our answer in that box, and we still can. But we want to start to think about and use variables to represent what we don't know as well. So if we stop and think, what is the value of t if it has the same value as 4 times 6? We'll give you some time to work on that. Well, the value of 4 groups of 6 is 24. So we're going to work today on solving a problem related to Tonica. And her third class is going on a field trip to the Science Museum. Wouldn't that be fun? Help Tonica answer the following questions. For each question, be sure to show your work using pictures, numbers, or words. So here we go. The first problem says tickets to the museum cost $7 each. There are 8 students in Tonica's group. How much does it cost for Tonica's group to go to the Science Museum? What is this problem asking you to figure out? We're going to underline any information that can help you solve the problem. And of course, we know we need to read math problems carefully. It's never enough to read a math problem once. We need to read it like a detective, looking for that evidence that we're going to use to solve the problem. So let's read again. Tickets to the museum cost $7 each. There are 8 students in Tonica's group. How much does it cost for Tonica's group to go to the Science Museum? So we want to make sure we underline $7 each, the cost of the tickets, 8 students that were in Tonica's group, and how much does it cost for Tonica's group to go to the Science Museum? How much is what we're trying to figure out. Now, the next thing we want to think about is writing an equation to represent the problem. And we're going to write that equation with a letter that stands for the unknown quantity or a variable. So the first thing we need to think about is what operation can be used to solve this problem? Let's see, we have tickets to the museum that cost $7 each, and there are 8 students in Tonica's group. How much does it cost for Tonica's group to go to the Science Museum? Do you think we need to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? I'm going to give you some choices. Which of these equations do you think represents this problem? 7 plus 8 equals D. 8 times 7 equals D. Or 8 minus 7 equals D. When Mrs. Peters thought about this, I remembered that multiplication, which is what we've been learning about, helps us know how many when we have many groups of the same size. So when I look at this problem, I go, well, We have 8 students in Tanika's group, and they each need a ticket. And each of those tickets costs $7 each. So we have 8 groups of 7 because 8 students need those tickets, which means 8 times 7, or 8 groups of 7 equals D, would be the equation that's going to represent that problem. And by the way, Mrs. Peters chose D because we're working with money, which are dollars. And so I just chose D because it's the first letter in the word dollars. So our equation that represents that problem is 8 times 7 equals D. So what is the value of D? I'm going to give you a chance to stop and figure that out. Okay, I want to show you how Mrs. Peters thought about this. So I'm going to exit this and I'm going to go to a whiteboard. So on this whiteboard, you'll see I have my equation, 8 times 7 equals D. Well, the first thing I did is think of pairs of 7. So I put 7 and 7, or double 7 is 14. So that's 2 of the 7s. And then I did it again. 7 plus 7 equals 14. So now I can add the 14 and 14, and I get 28. So 28 is how much 4 sevens is. But I know that I need 8 of them. Well, double 4 is 8, so I just need to double the 28. I need double that answer. So I am going to write 28. I'm going to add it to 28. I know that's going to give me the number of dollars. So the way I'm going to think about this is I like to think in terms of place value. I can take the 20 from each 28 and add that pretty easily. And when I add 20 and 20, I get 40. And then I'm just noticing this. I'm going to erase that real quick. That is not correct. And then I'm going to take my 8 from each number, my 1s. I have 8 1s in each number. And I'm going to add those. And that gives me 16. And then I know that I can pretty easily add 40 or 4 10s and 16. And that gives me a total of 56. So in this case, D, the number of dollars, and I'm going to label it, talking about dollars, is 56. So that's how I thought about it. So 8 groups of 7 is equal to 56. All right. Well, thanks for working together with me today and for doing this work, and I will see you soon.